We're finishing up the review on the new Prius right now. I did a comparison versus my 3rd gen Prius earlier this week. Go ahead and check that out. My 3rd gen kicked its butt in terms of fuel economy. So what we're gonna do today is do another quick review on it and fill it back up to see if the fuel economy numbers that I got were a little erroneous. So we're gonna double check that today, and let's get into this nighttime review. All right, the Prius at nighttime still has a great presence to it. We know the exterior with this new 5th gen is absolutely stunning. And yeah, look how aggressive that hammerhead design is. The mid-grade, which is the XLE and this limited, you get those additional little fog lights there at the bottom. Now, the 19-inch wheels here are standard on the XLE as well as the limited, and of course this is the limited. This one comes in around $37,000. I'm gonna tell you guys if I think it's worth it, so stay tuned for the end for that. We got the light bar in the back, which is completely different from any generation of Prius before it. No, cargo capacity is a little bit less than it was in the past, but honestly it's not that bad. The biggest difference is going to be interior space, I think, but go ahead and watch my daytime review where I talk more about that. In terms of amenities back here, we have a light right here for you get into the window. A couple USB-Cs down there, as well as heated rear seats in the back. It's been awesome taking my kids to school. You know, plenty of room for them between the seats, honestly. I want to show you guys also the turn indicators, because I think that's pretty cool in this vehicle too. I forgot to show you that when we were walking around, so let's go and pop those on. Check that out. The whole daytime running light turns amber. Look how bright that is. That is insanely bright. There's no way people aren't going to see you with the turn indicator on. That is super impressive. Super good visibility, that turn indicator from the side, at least from the front anyways, the front side. Not so much from the back here. The back has a really compact turn indicator, but it looks pretty good. What do you guys think of that? All right, let's get into the front seat. People have been asking me if I've been hitting my head, and the answer is no, but it's been close. I brushed my shoulder more times than hit my head. In fact, I hit my head more on the Toyota Crown than I do this tiny Prius. Now the Prius now sits lower to the ground than ever before, more like a sports car, but I'm fine with that. I think it helps with the handling characteristics. This vehicle is more of like a fuel economy focused sports car. Like, it's way faster than any Prius before it, and that's true for the Prime model as well. All right, so let's get on the inside. We have heated steering wheel and heated seats. These heated seats do not work in this model for whatever reason. I turned them on and there's no heating going on, so your mileage will vary there. Ventilated seats work really well in here. And then we have this light bar that goes all the way across the dash, and a little bit of ambient lighting there at the floor, as you guys can see. We have Android Auto here, and it works wired and wirelessly. It's pretty fantastic. This is the large screen in this model. This one's pretty much fully loaded, right? With the limited, this one at 37K. But the base screen, I think, is an 8-inch screen, but it has lots of plastic around it. So it'd be hard not to get this screen. I think it's only $750 upgrade on lower trims. Up top, we have a digital rear view mirror. Guess that's pretty neat. And anytime you have a digital rear view mirror in a Toyota, you're also going to have the 360 camera, which I think is great. I mean, the Prius, it now has more limited visibility out of the windows compared to before, so sometimes it's kind of hard to see. So no longer do we have a center instrument cluster, okay? In Priuses before this, it was all in the center. Now it's actually right here where it should be. This is the new MID, and you don't need a head-up display now because you can see it sit right up against the glass. It said I'm getting 58 miles per gallon. We're going to put that to the test because I had about 60 miles per gallon on that total average, and at the pump it only said 48 miles per gallon. So that's where we're going to retest that today. You can make the center information a little bit bigger here. Of course, we have radar, cruise control, all that good stuff. Lane keep assist. It's very, very accurate and predictable here. Different metrics, and then you can turn on and off different safety things. I always turn off this guy, which is it's pretty much on every new Toyota and Lexus model. So I turn proactive driving assist, I think is what it is, PDA. It's not public display of affection. So Yeah, so let's go ahead and just get back to the little fuel economy leaf. The steering wheel now, it's gonna be hard for the camera to pick it up maybe. Steering wheel's amazing, and you look over the steering wheel to see that MID. It's never been an issue for me. I can always see the MID. The steering wheel does not come into my view. It's super soft. It feels way better than my 2013 Prius steering wheel. 2012, I think of a 2012 Prius. And the steering in here is much lighter than my generation of Prius, but this car does handle a lot better. It feels a lot lighter in the turns. The ride feels a lot better. Just watch my comparison between the two. All right, last thing on the inside, here's the new shifter. Over and down for drive, P for park. I mean, it hasn't changed that much in the mechanics. It's here now. In my Prius, it was kind of up here, but I really like this setup. Auto brake hold is not memory, so it's not going to remember the last time you had it on, like it does with the drive modes. The drive modes, it does remember every time you turn the car off what drive mode you are in. A couple more USB-Cs in there, but I'm ready to start driving the new Prius after, yeah, a couple more USB-Cs up front there too. So there's 6 in total. It's insane. But yeah, let's go and start driving the new Prius here at night and then finalize our review. All right, so in my comparison review between my Prius and this Prius, I was in normal mode the whole time. Normal mode in this car is, I think, pretty aggressive, and I think that's what Toyota wants. They wanted this vehicle to no longer just be really fuel focused, fuel economy focused. And so, like, yes, we have 194 horsepower in here compared to my generation was around 130 horsepower. So like 60, 70 more horsepower compared to the older ones. It's just a completely different performance car. Because the engine's bigger, it's a 2-liter now, as well as we have a 5th generation hybrid technology in here. So it does drive actually quite a bit different than my Prius hybrid. So in my experience, it actually drives a little bit more like, let's say, Honda's hybrids. Because at times it likes running the engine a little bit more to top off the battery, and then it likes driving in fully electric mode for stints. And I feel like it does that far more often than my old Prius. I feel like at least the learning curve here to make this as fuel efficient as possible has been pretty big compared to other Toyota hybrids that I've driven. And so maybe that's why my fuel economy numbers previously were not rewarding as I thought it should have been, right? This is rated at with this trim level with these big wheels at 52 miles per gallon. The base LE model is rated at 57 miles per gallon. I think a big part of why this vehicle failed to meet my MPG, even though it clocked high MPG on here, is that, like I said, the major mode, the main mode, normal mode, which I have not been driving in since that initial test, it's just too aggressive. Every small input on the pedal, it feels like it's a double, like 2 times as sensitive as my Prius in normal mode. So normal mode to normal mode, it feels like this Prius is in sport mode compared to my Prius when it's in normal mode. So what I've been doing, and this is something I typically hate doing in Toyota hybrids, is I put it in eco mode, and I actually really enjoy it, because I have much more control over the throttle response. It feels like I'm driving my Prius with the throttle response, but of course if I put the pedal down, it gives me, I don't know if it gives me the full power of this vehicle. Let me see. Let me go ahead and put it into sport, and let's see if that horsepower feels any different. No, it feels exactly the same, to be honest. I'm not going to do 0 to 60s in eco mode versus sport mode. No one really cares. It does 0 to 60 in 7 seconds. But anyways, I've been driving in eco mode here, and it's been far more enjoyable for me. The pedal's just a lot more predictable. I can give it the amount of throttle I want to maximize the fuel economy, and I still have that reserve of almost 200 horsepower when I put the pedal down. I didn't mention this, but you can also get all-wheel drive on the Prius, but that's been true since the 4th generation, so that's just continuing on. But now the new Prius and all-wheel drive has a lot more horsepower for the rear wheels. I think around 40 horsepower compared to like 9 horsepower before. It was there really for really low traction situations and just to get you started. Now it's there to provide maybe a small performance benefit in maybe rainy conditions. So it's much more usable now as an all-wheel drive system, which is good. That's what you want. All right, so yeah, just cruising here at 45 miles an hour. Prius is in full electric mode, and I can put the old energy monitor up. It's changed throughout the years. I don't like it as much as my energy flow monitor because this looks really cheap. I guess it's basic, but it still gives me the information I want. But yeah, there it is. I'll put that up for you guys. But yeah, we're actually on our way to the gas station right now that I used to fill this vehicle up this past week multiple times. And in theory, that's supposed to be the most efficient way for you to clock your fuel economy, right? So yeah, the brakes in here are fantastic. Much better brake feel than my Prius. There's no dead zone or squishiness going on. There are no blind spots in here, which, yes, you have blind spot monitor as well, which is a little over aggressive. I haven't looked in the settings if I can tweak how aggressive the blind spot monitoring is in here, but like, it feels like the blind spot monitor in here is set up for something bigger than like a Tundra. And this vehicle is absolutely tiny. It's a compact vehicle, right? We're pulling up on our gas station here. I think I am going to see better than 48 mpgs this time around. Is it going to be as good 58? I mean, that's what I want to believe, but I was tricked last time. The clock said 60 and I got 48. So this is going to be definitely a trial here. But I love it, man. This is the irony. Like, I don't put gas in these press cars. The only time I put gas in them is if it's a high performance car and it's just been sucking fuel, or if it's something like this Prius, a hybrid that's meant for fuel economy, and then I like filling it up again, driving it a lot, filling it up to see what kind of fuel economy I'm actually getting, not what the clock is saying. So let's go and put it in park by pressing this button. There is a little button down here that's illuminated that opens up the gas tank. I'll just put in a little over 2 gallons, and I put 116.9 miles on the clock divided by 2.052. There we go, 57 miles per gallon. That's really close to what this is saying. It's 58 miles per gallon. So there you go. I got the EPA numbers for actually the smaller wheels. And the smaller wheels, if I had that vehicle, I'd be cranking over 60 miles per gallon. So there you go. I think this is more accurate. I think roughly it's about the same fuel economy as my old Prius. Maybe not as good as the 4th gen Prius, but that's the thing. You get this new gorgeous design. It's just crazy how much more power this thing makes, yet getting very similar fuel economy. There's also the Prime model. I have not reviewed the Prime. I haven't had it for review. It costs about $4,000 more than this, if you can find one at MSRP, right? They're XSE trims, right? XSE Premium, and I think maybe SE is the base model SE. I'm trying to remember. Those come about $3,000 to $4,000 more than this. You would probably never ever make up the fuel economy difference compared to this and that just by plugging it in, but it gives you about 25 more horsepower. It gives you better acceleration. It gives you a fully electric driving experience, and you wouldn't have to spend time going to the gas station hardly at all if you're plugging it at home. I actually prefer how the Prius Prime drives compared to this. It's more than just numbers. To me, the Prius Prime feels better built. This feels really well built, by the way. Like, it's built in Japan, of course. And here's the great thing about the new Prius. I can do U-turns and get out in front of traffic because I have plenty of power now that, it was always sketchy pulling out in front of traffic in my Prius because it's so slow. Anyways, yeah, the new Prius Prime is just built. When I drove it for the press event, it felt like a Lexus, more like a Lexus UX. It felt quieter. It felt more sturdy. It weighs about 300 pounds more, but it felt higher quality than even the standard Prius, which already feels better than most cars. But it's kind of like a semi-premium car at this point, the Prius is. If you want cheap at all costs, you go for the Corolla hybrid, and that's like, good luck finding a vehicle, assuming you can get an MSRP, that's going to give you 50 miles a gallon and like $22,000 entry price. It's amazing, the new little Corolla hybrid. So since the Corolla hybrid is now on the market, the Prius had to go upscale, and I think it's a great thing for Toyota. This vehicle I love. I highly recommend this vehicle at every single trim level pretty much. It just depends on the features you need. I might just be going for the basic model for the LE, because the fuel economy is so impressive on that, and you still get the roughly 200 horsepower, right? You get cloth seats, which is fine with me. But let me know down below, do you think you need to have these 19-inch wheels? In fact, if I felt like I needed the 19-inch wheels and getting the LE, I could always upgrade to better looking 19-inch wheels than these. These wheels they have presence because they're so big on a Prius, but I don't think they're that impressive a design, these 19. So anyways, LE would be probably my personal pick, but I think they're all good picks with different styles of technology. I do like this big screen though, so that might be enough to pull me into a next trim level or two. Yeah, I love the new Prius. It is fantastic. Toyota just can't build enough of them. I don't know why their production is so limited on this vehicle. The demand for the Prius is now high, and it hasn't been high since the third gen Prius, when it was selling over 200,000 units per year here in the United States. This sold less than like 40,000 units this past year, not because of a lack of demand, it's because Toyota's just not making hardly any of these things compared to what they used to. So I'll see you down below. Do you think Toyota needs to increase volume on it? Of course they do. Yeah, they need to be making 100,000 of these a year for the United States. I think the market would absolutely soak it up. I didn't talk about the panel roof in here. You can also get a solar roof on the plug-in, but can't talk about everything in this video. But yeah, I mean, also the lights at night, when there are no lights around you, no street lights, the headlights are extremely bright. So Toyota nailed it, nailed the nighttime driving. And this light here is not annoying. This ambient light, this blue strip, which is a red strip, and the Prius Prime, this is never distracting. It doesn't reflect off the windows like you see in other makes and models with their ambient lighting. The only thing I've noticed is that if you're in traffic and the car in front of you starts pulling away, this like blinks at you to let you know that the traffic's pulling away. It's very strange. I don't know if that was in any press release talking about that feature in this vehicle. I don't even know if it's disableable. But yeah, that's just a small little Easter egg there, I guess, for you guys. I'm gonna miss this Prius. I had this Prius this week with the GTR, and I love the GTR, but it's not fun to drive in traffic. It's quite terrible actually to drive in traffic. This thing's like a luxury car in comparison. I couldn't wait to get back into the Prius over and over and over this week. It's super comfortable. It's hot. I think it's a sexy looking car. It's fun to drive. Like, this ticks all the boxes for me. Maybe it's because I'm a current Prius owner already, but like, this thing's absolutely fantastic. If you're really, really tall, maybe you'd be hitting your head on the roof of this thing getting in and out, but at 6'1", I haven't had that issue. So yeah, Prius is an absolute home run for Toyota, and it's a darn shame that we can't get more of these out on the market. So hopefully they can, like I said, boost that production. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Signing out from the Prius Limited, coming in at $37,000. Finally was able to get that EPA, actually beat the EPA estimate with fuel economy, getting at 57 miles per gallon this time when it's only rated at 52. Very impressive, Toyota. See you in the next one, guys.